Episode 2, The Hidden Struggle, Indigenous Nations and the Fabrication of History. Long before Canada, this land thrived with sovereign nations. Complex councils governed, laws guided daily life, trade routes connected vast distances, and knowledge of the land ran deeper than the roots of the forests. When Europeans arrived, they didn't acknowledge this sophistication. Instead, they created a narrative. Indigenous people were savages in need of civilization. That lie became the foundation of conquest. The attack unfolded in layers. Land was seized, rivers claimed as crown property, hunting grounds cut off, forests stripped, and entire nations forced onto reserves. Treaties were signed under duress, mistranslated, and quickly broken. Courts today admit many were violated, confirming what leaders said all along. These agreements were not honored. Identity itself was targeted. The Indian Act of 1876 reduced sovereign nations to wards of the state. Movement was restricted, ceremonies outlawed, traditional governance dismantled. It was never about partnership, it was about control. Then came the residential schools. Generations of children were taken, forbidden to speak their languages, punished for practicing culture. Many endured abuse and neglect. The official goal was chilling, to kill the Indian in the child. Survivors carried wounds that scarred our families for generations, shaping realities that persist today. Propaganda amplified the assault. Schools taught Canadians that Indigenous people were relics, incapable of self-governance. Savage myths were told, while their thriving economies and advanced diplomacy were buried. Even our elders, under threat of punishment, were forced to pass down reshaped stories, fragments of a manipulated narrative. The truth became dangerous. We all know what happened to those who dared to speak. Addiction was used as a weapon. Alcohol was traded as leverage. Starvation forced compliance. Violence and torture silenced resistance. The tactics followed a pattern: strip resources, break spirit, erase history, then fabricate a new one. By 1931, Canada declared independence without a single Indigenous voice. Sovereign nations were excluded. In 1982, during the repatriation of the Constitution, they were sidelined again. Quebec itself refused to sign, exposing fracture buried beneath the illusion of unity. Court rulings in the 1990s confirmed repeated violations of treaty rights. But by then, the damage was deeply entrenched. The effects are visible everywhere. Poverty grips reserves. Communities face addictions, broken families, contaminated land, underfunded healthcare, and unsafe housing. Suicide rates soar. Languages vanished. Malnutrition, homelessness, and preventable illness persist in one of the richest countries on earth. None of this is accidental. These are the lasting effects of deliberate policy, the architecture of cultural erasure. And yet, survival continues. Secret societies like the Medewin preserved traditions underground. Stories, songs, and ceremonies were hidden, protected at great risk. These fragments carried forward resilience, ensuring identity was never fully destroyed. The survival of Indigenous nations is itself an act of defiance. This is Canada's hidden struggle. Land stolen, treaties broken, histories fabricated, and lives shattered under the weight of systemic deception. The story we're told is one of democracy and freedom, but the deeper truth is one of domination, erasure, and control. Until that truth is faced, well, the illusion holds, and the cost is carried by the very people who first called this land home.